Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by TJS Ceramics, Posh Boutique in the Bridges at 57th, The Sky in T, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 188. We start this show with a couple of reminders. First, tonight, it's the 4th annual Sioux Falls Stage Awards. Look forward to the gala every year. Such a great time seeing all the nominees dressed up for a night on the town. It'll be a good time. By the way, today we have a couple of those nominees on the show. The other reminder, the Mighty Corson Art Players will have a live event featuring the Midwestern Radio Theater of Fear Falls, written by local actor and playwright Mo Hurley. Special event's going to be a live recording of a Fear Falls episode, along with a live episode of Dave Holly Hour, featuring Mo as my guest, and perhaps a few others. And this will take place Sunday, August 6th. Tickets will be available soon. All right, so we got you caught up on all that. So what's in store for today then? Well, later in the show, we'll hear from two of tonight's nominees for Best Comic at the Stage Awards, Aleda Windels and Skyler Bolks. Coming up in just a few minutes, we hear from actor and the Premiere Playhouse staff member, Abby Kustak. Plus, we'll tell you who or what gets this week's honorable mention, as well as choose another winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day in your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
Whatever you may be drinking, whatever you may be drinking it from, lift it high. As for me, it's Jasper Newton. For those that haven't ever heard me say that, because it's been a while since I've done so, Jasper Newton. Jasper Newton is the actual first and middle name of one Jack Daniels. Put it together with Diet Coke and a lime over a few rocks, and I'm good. But lift it high and salute the visitors to our fine city. They come here to support our local businesses. They don't come here to go to big box stores, we'll say, okay? They come here to take in the attractions, have a beverage or two from a local brewery, and if we are gracious to them, guess what they do? They talk about their experience here, and you just might find yourself having some new friends. In my case, from Lincoln, Nebraska. We were very fortunate to run into a couple, and they were making their tour around the breweries and just having a great time and really enjoying our city. So, of course, we pumped it up even more, like good people here should, because we live in a very great community, no doubt about that. The Weekend Eve Toast is brought to you by The Sky in T. The Sky provides all caps fun. That is best had with friends. Have fun playing darts, shooting pool. Have fun listening to great live music from local musicians. You know what? You could be one of those, too. You could be singing karaoke out there. Maybe you need some room to hold a company party, have a benefit of something. Well, that Sky, they just keep getting bigger like a Montana Sky. They get that big back room that helps you out. And no matter what's going on at the Sky, it's local and it's lively. It's time to choose a lucky winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. Everyone that follows the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook or Instagram is automatically entered to win a free pizza from Sonny's Pizzeria. We pick a winner each week, and this week we say congratulations to Grace Jeldon We'll be in touch with you, Grace, to get you all set up with some jowl-dropping, show-stopping, thin-crust pizza. Pizza with a Podcaster is brought to you by Sonny's Pizzeria, right across from USF at 26th and Waltz, and Sonny's at 81 on South Phillips. Check out the very fun and incredibly flavorful menu online, sonnyspizzeria.com. Honorable mention. What made Dave happy this week, or made him chuckle, whatever it was? After 2 weeks of difficult choices, this one was easy. It's also selfish, but I'm not going to apologize. The Vaughties, which I co-host along with Emily Wilson, we co-produce it as well, last Friday, was an amazing show. The talent from start to end was great. The crowd from the beginning to the end was responsive, and also the biggest one we've ever had. And we were out at a wonderful venue, Wild Prairie Winery, and I'm pretty sure the Victoria sold a glass, maybe even a bottle of wine or two. Dozen more. So thank you, everyone that showed up. Thank you to all the great talent. And thank you as well to Wild Prairie Winery. Later on, we hear from comics Aleda Windels and Skyler Bolks. Up next, actor Abby Kustak on the Dave Holly Hour.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics. We have thousands of classic vintage ceramic mold items and several new items too. TJS Ceramics offers classes through the Sioux Falls Community Education Program and special open studio nights every Thursday evening. Bisque, studio time, or finished custom items are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in Sioux Falls today.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
The Dave Holly Hour. Like eavesdropping on a great conversation between two very interesting people.
Welcome back, everybody. Gotta say it right off the top, don't I? It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. And, you know, I like to follow that up with whether someone's a first-time guest or a repeat. This is a first-time guest. Her husband's already been on the show before. And the next time, we're probably going to have both of them together. Abby Kustak, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
I kind of figured you would be. You're that type of person that just... You brighten up a room, for one thing, when you walk in. Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's always so fun to see you. And, of course, one of the most recent times seeing you, you were out of your typical character as to what people know Abby Kustak as a person. You played the evil stepmother.
I did. And I love hearing that. I really love it when people come up to me and they're like, their jaw dropped of,
right,
that is not you. And it's like, oh yeah, it is.
Is it just a side we've not seen of you?
No, I would like to say I like playing all different kinds of characters, and I am definitely full of surprises. I just have this demeanor that I have around people. I like to leave them with a little surprise later.
And that was a big surprise for people. Like you said, people come up and go, oh,
Yep.
jaw-dropping and so forth. But great performance.
Oh, thank you very much.
And it was just, it was enjoyable anyway, but to see you up on stage in a lead role like that was awesome and well-deserved, for one thing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Now, I have to ask, what did Casey think of this then?
So I actually kept a lot of things secret from Casey. A lot of people are asking, like, oh, did your husband influence you in this role or anything of that matter? I'm like, no, I took a little bit of his advice, but Madame was created by me.
Okay.
Completely.
Any other roles that you've played in the past that led to this at all?
No, I will say the last time I was actually on stage was high school. I have auditioned for quite a few productions here.
Right.
But never landed one, and that's okay because Madame was definitely a good one to start my career with.
Yeah, you landed
sure.
a big one.
Yes.
No doubt about that. Yeah, I'm going to go fishing. Haven't since high school. Oh, look.
Oh, look at
That's
that.
a proud angler. I could take a picture of it. How much fun was it playing the character then?
I am very, very proud of the character I created for Madame. I thought about her since Cabaret. When they announced the next season and they said Cinderella, I remember sitting in the crowd and I'm like, I am going to be in that show and I'm going to land that role. I want her so bad.
Oh, the current term would be you manifested this then,
I
huh?
did.
Good for you.
I did for a very long time. So from then on, I definitely kind of sat in my corner and kind of watched everyone. I'm a people watcher, and I like to absorb those characteristics and things like that. I definitely watched a lot of shows. A lot of people came up to me and said, "You remind me of Moira."
From Schitt's Creek?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I did take a little bit from her. I love her mannerisms.
What a great character.
I loved her. Amy Adams from I think it's like Disenchanted.
Disenchanted.
Yep.
Okay.
I took a lot of her from going to like this very delicate flower, everything happy, and then like doing a 180, just going complete evil. And I'm like, oh, I love her mannerisms in that too. But I wanted someone that was lovable and someone that you wanted to hate, but just a little scene stealer. Like everyone has that one person in their life where they're like, oh, I want to be her so bad, but I don't like her. Like I don't know what.
Yeah.
Like,
or maybe it's like, oh, I don't like that, but you know what? You gotta admit. Yeah.
She has those characteristics that I just love and I can never have. Yes.
See, I always equate it to the things that I say to myself, like at the end of the day, and I'm yelling at myself, all the things that I wish I had the guts to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is her.
Okay.
That is Madame.
Madame. All right. And in terms of being in the play, what was a great fun time amongst the cast?
A great fun time. I would say I enjoyed the scene with Sebastian the most because you got to see Madame's lovable side, but the rest of it, I kind of had an emotional hard time because I'm a very loving, caring person, and Madame is definitely not. So being very mean to, for say, my own daughters, or being very mean to Ella in particular, and I'm yelling and ridiculing them, and having the whole cast actually not like me was kind of hard. That was probably the most. It was very hard. I had to make the whole cast, the ensemble, and everyone around me just not like me except for Sebastian. So I had basically one person to rely on. Not in real life, but yeah, that was it was emotionally hard, and it probably took a big month to kind of get over that and be like, this is just a character. It is okay. Like, I'm in a good space. I am safe. Everyone does love me. It's great. But yeah, that was probably the character.
Yeah.
They can hate. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did it take to get into that character every night then?
There was a lot of talking to myself. I did go to all the characters that I interact with, and then we do like talk to each other of like, hey, we're gonna have a good show. To have is there anything that's bothering you today? Like, kind of check-ins. We did check-ins with all the characters that I actually like ridicule, and it made me feel better, and it made me feel like I can go even harder on them because we both know that we're in a safe space. So that's how, and a lot of playing with my voice got me into that character as well. So I definitely enjoy that quite
All
a
right.
bit.
So in terms of the character itself, the cast hated you, with the exception of Sebastian. But
Correct.
when it came time for the applause and so forth, did you hear any boos?
I didn't.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't. I was actually kind of scared because I know that show is kind of focused on children, so I was kind of waiting for a child to go boo. But I would say my favorite show ever was, so I am yelling at Gabrielle because she was kissing a man in our own house, you know, and Ella comes into the picture and I look at her and I can hear the crowd go silent, like completely. It's the best moment ever. And you hear this one person in the back just say, oh, shit. And I'm looking at Caitlin and we're both looking at each other like, don't break.
Yep.
Don't break. And then I took a breath and then went into the yelling at her.
Okay, when it's a possibility of breaking, what is your key to not doing it? Are you a teeth gritter or an actual lip biter? Or
I actually like, I don't want to say blow through my nose.
Okay.
But it's kind of like this little, like, you got this. But yeah, just exhale everything through my nose and mouth. And it's just like, okay, here we go.
So you manifested this last year when they
Yes.
said you were going to be doing Cinderella, and you wanted to try out, you wanted to audition and get that part. Not only were you saying I want to, you were telling yourself, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Did it live up to its expectations then?
It did. I did have a goal in the end for Madame of, I'm going to be recognized for this part. People are going to be blown away from this part. She's going to be remembered for years to come. And I believe I did do that.
I'm quite sure you did too.
Yes. That was my goal from day one, to make her a very rememberable character.
All right. So let's go back. Let's start. What first got you interested in acting?
I was actually interested in acting in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So what got me into that was my mom, for sure. She and my stepdad are very interested in theater. They've directed a few shows down in Yankton. When I was in high school, I went to high school at Gayville Volun School.
Okay.
So K through 12 was like 200 kids.
Right.
And when I grew up, it was sports. Get into sports. Abby, you're tall. Be in sports.
Right, yeah.
Like, definitely do that. And the school play came up. And my mom's like, you're auditioning, right? You should definitely try it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. And she's like, oh, no, you should definitely just give it a go. I'm like, all right. So 8th grade year, you're allowed to try out in 8th grade. And I was telling my mom, I'm like, I feel like silly acting like someone else in front of like all these high school students. I'm like kind of scared. And she's like, Abby, you know what'd be more embarrassing is if an 8th grader got a lead role. And she's not wrong. So she's like, just overdo what you think that character needs. And I'm like, all right. So I did. I overact. And I actually landed the lead role in 8th grade. But alas, we were going to go on vacation for a whole week, so they didn't want me to miss that time. So they gave me another like principal character.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, oh man, I'm hooked. This is fun. So then again, all through high school,
So every year
I've always auditioned. I've always had a role of some kind. And then I moved to Sioux Falls. I went to cosmetology school. So honestly, nights and weekends, I just could not
commit to anything.
I couldn't. Yeah. It was actually very sad. And that's what happened over the years. I've always had a job that I work nights and weekends. And then when I heard Beauty and the Beast was coming, I'm like, oh man, I want to try this. And I will say, I did audition for that, and it was not pretty. I can flat out say that was not my finest hour at all, but it was a good lesson. I didn't like the outcome, and that's okay, but I tried.
What did it teach you that made it better so when you went in to get Madame?
Well, honestly, I would say I auditioned for many shows, and each time when I auditioned, I learned something different. So I auditioned for Beauty and the Beast. I auditioned for Christmas Carol. I auditioned for Lombardi and Cabaret. And each time I got more confident talking in front of people and being unique and different and using different voices and being loud and obnoxious. And I really enjoyed doing that. And so I wanted to learn more. And since I wasn't getting those roles, I'm like, well, maybe I'm not supposed to be on stage. Maybe I'm supposed to be behind the scenes and learning more. So I did. I pursued that.
Right, because you were doing quite a bit, in the backstage area too.
I've done a lot.
Yeah.
So Christmas Carol in 2021, I did the sound. I did the mics and everything with Malia. She's a very, very talented artist, and she taught me so much. Then Young Frankenstein, I did the sound for that also. Did like the music cues.
Did you have to work with that Casey Kustak guy?
Yeah.
God, had to be tough, didn't it?
Oh, well, not gonna lie, it was a little bit of a challenge. He's gonna kick me for that, because all he has done was act. But he hasn't been at that time. He hasn't been on the other side of the table, and it's a very different story.
Right, but now he's been a stage manager.
Yes, now he completely understands where I was coming from. But Young Frank was actually my first show that I was assistant stage manager for.
Yeah.
So Pierce and I were both in these new roles, and we are just figuring it out. And it was a great one to figure out. It's such a great team. The Premiere Playhouse team is amazing, very loving, forgiving. They show a lot of grace, and they're willing to teach you anything. So during Young Frank, it was stage managing, and then after that, I was stage manager for Christmas Carol for 2022. And then after that, I'm like, okay, I need like somewhat of a break. But during that time being behind the table, I was watching and observing and thinking of these characters and how can I make them better, or like what would make them better, what would make them more appealing or fun. And I just kept watching. And the more I watched, the more I learned. And all that learning from all those great actors made me more at peace and made me more think about, what am I going to do with this Madame character? And it definitely helped. And I will say the Cinderella auditions, I felt good. I felt great going into it. I felt empowered, and I embraced it. I didn't feel nervous at all. it was a really good experience, and I'm glad I did both sides of the table.
Always great to have experience in everything, no matter what you're doing, or at least in understanding of it and so forth. And that has led, you are now a part of the staff at the Premiere Playhouse, and you are the, education assistant.
Yes.
Yeah, she's wearing her badge right now.
I made sure. But yes, I am the education coordinating assistant. So Alex is the education assistant coordinator. So I kind of take like the overflow of what she has.
Right.
I mean, in reality, for what is in store for the Premiere Playhouse, they have so many great ideas and so many opportunities. There's just not a lot of people to I don't want to say execute that.
Right.
You got one person doing like a person of 3 jobs.
Yeah.
And so I'm there just to help them out. I'm there to be their support. I'm there to make sure that it happens for them, that their dreams actually do come true, and to make it bigger and better and more beautiful than ever.
Well, and what's great about the education part now is all the programs that are coming along too, and then of course there's the other things that are taking place within our community, like DAPA and so forth, that kind of give you a nice cushion for upcoming people to be involved in community theater. But there's the Penguin Project, which is just absolutely fantastic. Saw that last year, and so looking forward to what's coming out of that. You've got Shrek Jr. Coming up, and so there's all these things that young people get to be involved with, and I guess I didn't want to say kids, because really we're talking about all ages now at Premiere Playhouse, that somebody could have something, especially when it comes out, every year doing Christmas Carol. There's, the kids that are involved in that. I remember when they had Oliver a few years ago, and all the young people that were involved in that. It's just so wonderful that they have opportunities, and also that all of the actors that are either in that show or helping along with like a Penguin Project and so forth have the opportunity to teach and lead and guide. And obviously that's what you do now in this position.
Yes, and that's what the Premiere Playhouse is all about. We just want to teach. We want to teach. We want people to learn whatever you want to learn, really. They have this new program that you can shadow someone if you want to learn about sound, lights, stage managing, like all of those aspects. And then a lot of the workshops, they're going from children on up.
Right.
Throughout the whole year. And I mean, if that doesn't scream community.
True. And the great thing is, we still have season tickets that we buy. Okay. And so we just finished a season.
Yep.
But there's plenty that's going to be going on yet in that theater up until the next season starts. So it's a year-round thing now.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to go see things at the Orpheum or wherever the Premiere Playhouse is actually housing something at the time, including, they've done shows on the road before. So I'm looking forward to what's still to come. And I just think that the Premiere Playhouse is doing such a fantastic job right now, and glad that you got to be part of it. In fact, they just held their annual meeting this past Sunday. And congratulations to your husband. He got recognized.
I know.
Yeah.
I joked with him about that. He's all like, I don't know if I should have gotten that. I'm like, well, I did make you do all that. Yeah. So he doesn't have a choice. We're definitely like a theater family.
Yes, you are. Your
sure.
Kids are involved too. Yeah.
Yes. You always hear about like, the baseball family or like the soccer family. We're the theater family.
Theater family.
We're just like, we're always there. And now since everything is like year round, it's like our second home.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But, as I was talking about the annual meeting, they brought up the fact that, a couple of years ago, they had 0.5 staff. Mm-hmm. And now it's 6 or 7?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they've grown tremendously, and these are people that are having the opportunity. That's another great thing that's happened in this community. 20 years ago, if somebody was going to USF or Augie and majoring in theater, it's like, oh, well, we'll see after graduation. Good luck to wherever you go. Mm-hmm. And now people are staying here.
That's
because
nuts.
There's opportunities for them to be here, and that's just a wonderful thing for this community to see. Mm-hmm. All right, so Abby Kustak, you've got a job there now. Mm-hmm. You got back into theater. You've been doing all the behind-the-scenes type work and so forth. What's next in theater for you?
Well, honestly, Oliver and our staff, we were just talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was asking what's like a win for everyone from this like past year, and like what's a goal or something that you're looking forward to. And I sat there and I thought about it. I'm like, I came into theater having the goal of I want to touch every facet of theater. Mm-hmm. I want to learn everything, whether it's behind the table or in front of the table. And I feel like directing might be in there. I have not touched that at all. And maybe some more technical stuff that I would like to touch on. But there is a couple shows that I have my eye on that I'm manifesting already.
All right. Are we letting people know what you're manifesting?
I did talk about how I do want to be in The Little Mermaid. Mm-hmm. For sure. Right now I'm manifesting I want to be one of the eels.
Okay.
I think that would be so fun. Like, my husband and I, we both want to be the eels so we can be, so we can actually act together.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. But honestly, there's so many good roles in that production that I wouldn't care what I'd got. Mm-hmm. I could make it wonderful. But that and possibly Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be a very different demeanor for me. So it'd be more not obscure.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm thinking about those.
Awesome.
For sure.
All right. Well, hopefully the manifestation continues on the same track then.
Yes.
That'd be excellent to find that out and talk about it again next year then.
Yeah.
Final two questions. Sometimes question number one answers the second, and we don't have to ask it. But when you are not part of the arts and entertainment scene here, what do you like to be entertained by?
Oh, gee. What do I like to be entertained by? Nothing by arts and entertainment. That's a tough one. I actually like going out for long walks.
Okay.
It actually drives my husband crazy, but I like walking in old neighborhoods, and I will stand in front of a house and like look at it because I want to know what their yard looks like. And it's not like I'm a huge landscape person. Uh-huh. I just like to see what's growing in their yard and see if it will grow in mine. I really enjoy doing that. It calms me down, and I don't know, I just like looking at colors of houses. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Any other hobbies then?
I would say I'm probably hobbied out from 2020. I did puzzles, I did crafts, I did everything under the sun. I play video games. I like to read mangas. I'm all hobbied out, I think.
Okay.
For sure.
So sit and relax when you do have the time.
Exactly. I think.
Which probably isn't much with a family.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Casey will say like I overload myself, but I always want something to do, and that's how I do it. Is if I just overload. I do play my husband and I both play volleyball.
Sand volleyball?
We play sand volleyball and we play indoor. So yeah, we really enjoy that.
Yeah, excellent. Abby Kustak, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, and congratulations on everything that's gone so well for you this past year, and looking forward to even more great things out of you.
Oh, thank you. It was great to be on.
Oh, my pleasure, dear.
Yep.
And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffat Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
Arts and entertainment lovers, you hit the mark. It's the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, so much fun to always talk about Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. And it's a great day to talk about it because tonight is the 4th annual Sioux Falls Stage Awards. And the number of categories continues to grow. So it's narrowed down some of the possibilities for a few of our comics in town, because it used to be that like comedy and dance, and there were like about 4 or 5 different things. Now they've kind of split some of that up. So now it's just who is the best comic, with a little bit of a twist, improv or stand-up. Well, we have 2 of those finalists, the nominees. We have Skyler Bolks and Aleda Windels, who are here to talk about being nominated, talk about comedy in general, and kind of get a feeling on, how they feel about everything that's going to take place tonight with the Sioux Falls Stage Awards. So welcome to both of you. You have both been on this program before, so that's always cool to have somebody come back. And great to have you, as always. And so here we are. It's the 4th annual, and there's a better chance of being the person that gets the Sioux Falls Stage Award for comedy now. Are you already thinking of bits for that, for like acceptance speeches?
Oh, I mean, I plan on just taking the award and walking away. And I want to make a big statement and just,
You're going to go for
just
it.
kind of end it. No. I mean, I'll tell them how much I actually deserved it. And, we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Yeah. He's already on it. How about you, Aleda?
I've thought about it. I'm still just kind of shocked I'm nominated with people who've literally been doing this for like a decade, but I definitely owe a lot of thanks to them if I get it. So it's kind of a weird feeling, but yeah.
Well, I was just because I'm one of those that I actually get to vote because I won an award the first year, and then you get to put on and so forth, and so it's fun to be able to see all the things that are now being progressed into it instead of such a wide category on that. And
on that note,
so
I have to apologize for the things I said earlier. I don't want that to go into your decision-making.
No, the only thing about you that went into my decision-making was, oh, shit, he likes Gary Lewis so much. My dear old friend. Yeah. But it's great to get to be able to talk about comedy in such a great way. But like I said, it includes a couple of improvers. Ironically, the 2 people that would be hosting the show tonight. Right. Yeah, so we've got Emily Wilson and Chris Andrews, and I will be heckling Chris Andrews throughout the night regardless, because he tried to kill me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Emily and I, we have this thing called the Vaudies, a vaudevillian, modern-day vaudeville. And before we did the show up in Corson back in the first part of June, Chris said, hey, sorry. He messaged and said, sorry, I can't be there. But I wish you harm to your lower extremities. His smart aleck way of saying break a leg. Well, So we had everything all set up, and then the fire dancers said, well, we need the speakers a little farther out so our apparatus don't hit them and so forth. So we did that. Well, it was an outdoor show, so gaff tape doesn't work real well on a dirty old wooden stage anyway. Right. And I have neuropathy, so I don't feel anything from my knees down. And when they moved the cables over to the side that were where I needed to hit the show open, and Emily gets introduced. She comes up on stage, and it's my turn, and my feet are underneath cables, and I had no idea, and I damn near broke my leg. So
it's all Chris's fault.
It's all Chris's fault because of that. All right. So what you, Aleda, you already alluded to it then. How often do you get to hear that? Aleda alluded. Aleda, you alluded to the fact that we're happy to be nominated. Do you feel like you're going to the Oscars? Oh, just happy to be nominated. Except for you, Skyler. You're just going to go up and accept it and take care of it.
Thanks, I deserve this.
Yeah.
No, it is really cool. I haven't done as much around Sioux Falls, and so to be recognized and that somebody was around at one of the shows that I did, obviously, to get nominated. So that is pretty cool. That is really great.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And so I'm just happy to see that the two of you happen to be 2 of the 5 finalists. I know all 5 of you quite well. So that's an interesting thing as to who to root for, but I will not tell you which one of the 5 of you I voted for. I'll just say whether I was right or not when it happens later tonight. So you're both going to be in attendance, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes people get nominated and they go, oh, I'm not winning. And they show up looking like Jason Sudeikis did that one time when he got his first award for Ted Lasso. So here's what is always fun, is to see the excitement that the crowd has about who wins this award. And this technically being the first year of this particular award. But what do you think about the 5 that are nominated? Besides the 2 of you, the other 3, and Aleda, you've obviously been at many of the same shows that Skyler's been in, many of the same shows that Nathan has been in. And if nothing else, you've seen their routines many times. You know where your routine is. You know where their routines are. But have you seen much of the improv?
I've been to a few different improv falls. I've gone with Graham a couple times.
That's right.
Yeah. I love Emily and Chris.
Yeah.
Emily gets me crying at times. I'm laughing so hard at her. So I'm just really excited, just to do the thing. And I think the first time I saw Nate perform a longer set was when he opened for Dennis Regan at Snow Jam. Mm-hmm. And I was just man, you are awesome. But we didn't really know each other right at that point. And I'm just so it's kind of like a fan, and then
and now you're a colleague.
Yeah, so that's kind of a cool. It feels good. Just to because I moved here and saw these guys and thought they were great, and then I'm like, oh, nice.
Skyler, what about you when you take a look at the 5 individuals?
I think it's always interesting because in a lot of places, I don't feel like we have as much of this going on in Sioux Falls, but there is a bit of tension. There's a bit of friction between improv and stand-up comedy. And so I do I like to just take this as the decision on which is the better form of comedy. Whoever wins will end up deciding that. But no, and I feel the same way. I've been to a handful of the Improv Falls shows, and those guys, they always put on a good show.
They do.
And I don't, there's not anyone that's been nominated that doesn't deserve to be there,
True.
And Aleda came on after I had been around for a while, and we've seen her improve a lot. She's gotten a lot better. And Nate's always been someone I looked up to because we're in a weird situation in Sioux Falls with our stand-up comedy scene where we don't really have anyone that's been around for a really long time. Like we don't have these 40 and 50-year-old guys
Right.
that have been doing it since, back in the 80s and stuff like that. And so Nate was always kind of the like figurehead of the stand-up comedy scene because he was the most senior person doing it. And it's weird when that guy is, about my age, but he's been at it for quite a while longer. But everyone will tell you he's just the sweetest guy, and he's absolutely hilarious on stage. And I really don't see anyone winning it where I would be like, well, I don't think that should have been the person who won. So
yeah, you'll be happy if you win it, but you'll also be happy for whomever else wins it. And that's always, a great thing, as you were mentioning about it. In other markets, there's some angst between improv, stand-up, and sketch, and so forth. But one of the things I've always said on this show, and it comes up a lot, is that this is a community of arts and entertainment people that collaborate and love to work together. And I'm guessing that Aleda, like Skyler was saying, he's been around a while, but Nate's been around a while. So Skyler probably picked up a few things from Nate. Mm-hmm. You've probably picked up a few things from both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All kinds of good advice and stuff. I usually will ask one of the two of them if I'm unsure about something.
Yeah. Is this going to fly?
I trust their opinion. Yeah. I'm like, hey, what do you think? Yeah. So it works. It helps a lot having people with some experience to and with that are willing to do that kind of thing. But just kind of like a lot of people in the Sioux Falls comedy scene in general have been super, like, it's been almost like a new little family and support system, because when I moved here initially,
mm-hmm.
I don't have much in the way of family here or anything, so they just kind of like, oh, you're one of ours now.
Yeah. Took you under the wing.
Yeah.
Skyler, when it comes to writing, now that you have been around doing it for several years, does the writing become easier?
It both is easier and more difficult, because you have a little bit more of a feel for what will work, like, and what kinds of premises to try and track down. But at the same time, you've also visited a lot of different things and tried a lot of different things, and so sometimes it's just a mental block, like, oh, that didn't work when I tried this other joke that's along the same lines or something like that. And sometimes it's just like a lot of my stuff is personal experiences,
right,
and like story, and you only have so many stories from your childhood that can actually work their way into a good set. So there is a little bit of friction, but I feel like it is easier to know. Like, a lot of times now I'll have a 3 to 5 minute thing that I take to the stage, whereas before it would be like, let's try these couple of jokes on this premise and then build around it,
right, and
see if that works. And now it's more of like, well, I have a story, I have something, a bigger piece that I want to get to, and I'll just find the jokes along the way. So
yeah, because I've done stand-up just a few times, handful, but I love it. It's fun. But as I'm sitting there writing and so forth, I have found myself going, okay, yeah, that's funny to me, but is it going to be funny to anybody else? And then the thing that I can't get yet, and that you do so well, callbacks. Where do you find that thread then, that, from bit number 1 to your 7th bit, something's going to tie a couple of times in there?
A lot of times it's you go to something that is on a similar premise or has a similar tie-in. Maybe you're talking about your mom and you have another joke about your mom later in the show, or her car, or something like that, and so then it's easier to tie back to the punchline that you had earlier. And I shouldn't admit this, but sometimes the crowd gives them to me. So sometimes I'll be doing a set and I'll get to a punchline later in the show, and the crowd will be calling back my joke from earlier, and I'm like, actually, that's a really good spot. So then I build a callback into that position,
right,
where where someone, random person in the crowd, has actually given me that. But yeah, a lot of times, sometimes most of the time you build forward, where earlier in the show you're revisiting another topic from earlier, and so you put it back. Sometimes I have jokes that I'm like, this would be good if the punchline was actually a callback. So I'll build a joke earlier in the set to get to that punchline where I can call it back later, because I feel like this joke will be stronger if I have a callback there. So,
Aleda, what have you found to be the toughest part of the writing process?
Getting enough stage time to practice it all.
Yeah.
Because I'm very much like a pen to paper kind of person. Like, I really think out my sets and kind of order them, and write jokes with my previous jokes in mind, and kind of try to keep some order to it. I've got a couple different 30-minute sets. But just like the practice and like finding the time to find the time, there's open mics. You can have all the 5-minute sets you want,
right?
And you can do a lot of work with those. But then okay, so now, but I've been producing a lot more shows and making those opportunities for myself. Mm-hmm. So that's been kind of fun. And it seems to be going pretty well. So far, I want to. I'm experimenting more with making my comedy more personal. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel like when I started out, I had kind of a persona that I, just to get myself comfortable on stage, dressed up as this goth girl. Well, like, normal day-to-day life, I'm more of a t-shirt and jeans kind of person, but it kind of gave me that, background, like, just that front stage right. persona, rather. So I was like, okay, I can kind of like be myself back here comfortably and just make you guys laugh at this clown that I've created, essentially. But I've been doing a lot more personal stuff now, so that's kind of where I'm at. And I wouldn't say struggling with it. I think it's going pretty well, but I'm booking some shows and producing some stuff to kind of put that to the test, beyond just practice. So
okay,
it is definitely an adjustment period when you're going from trying to that persona to like just being more, because you're even more vulnerable on stage, I think,
right.
as well, because this isn't just like, oh, this is what I thought was funny, and if they don't think it's funny, that's fine. Now you're presenting, this is me, and if they don't like it, then like
they don't like it.
It's a little harder to deal with.
How long do each of you rehearse?
What does that word
what
mean?
Is it? Yeah, I wondered if it was coming to that. But when you finally decide, okay, here's going to be my set, are you one of those that you just do it while you're driving in the car, or are you one of those that stands in front of a mirror?
The first time I did a headlining set, which that a lot of places it's 45 minutes to an hour, and I had what I thought was going to be an hour. It ended up being about 50 minutes, but I went down in my basement and I actually put a microphone and a speaker, and I went through it multiple times to make sure it was about the right amount of time, because I've been hired and offered this money to do this spot, filling this much time, and I wanted to make sure that I was there and that I would remember all of it. Now I'm on stage doing the stuff so often, I have
second nature.
I have so much material that like even if I do forget a couple of jokes, like I can still get to my 30 minutes, I can get to my hour, whatever I need to do. So
Aleda, how about you when you get ready?
I do like bullet points.
Okay.
Almost. So I'll just read through my bullet points like a dozen times. And so I know, having like done these different parts of jokes or different parts of my set at open mics enough time, I know how, like, what I'm going to say. So if I just write few keywords,
right?
So
it's more just a list of the bits.
It looks like if anybody found one of those just laying around, it would look like the weirdest poem ever. But so I just kind of like read my bullet points and go through those a few times. Sometimes I'll do like a video call with a friend out of town and just kind of run through it, and that way I've got like the time, once I hang up the phone, it says, that call was this long. So I'm like, okay, we got it.
All right. So we've talked about the open mics. You've both mentioned them, I should say. Not so much that we've had a conversation about it, but what is it, how beneficial is it to you when it comes to structuring then the longer sets, the open set, the feature set, the headline set?
I'd say open mics more for me are more beneficial for like practicing a joke.
Okay.
With that like 5 minutes or maybe like a few jokes a bit. Depending on where I am. Like at Full Circle Book Co-op, they'll give us, they're a little more loose with the time we get, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, I just kind of use them to run through just to know exactly how I'm gonna say something and figure out the timing.
Right.
And then one individual set or like joke or bit rather than a whole set. So I figure that part out later.
How many open mics do we have on a weekly basis now?
There's quite a few.
Yeah.
A lot more, and dedicated comedy mics too, or like mixed
True.
mics that have a comedy focus.
4, 5.
Yeah,
Windy
it's 4 or
City,
5.
Windy City, and Club David alternate every Thursday.
Okay.
And then
Because then you got Lucky's.
Lucky's and Bosses. So yeah.
Yes, there's 5 different ones, 3 nights
and
a
then
week.
Full
You can get
Circle.
out.
Yeah,
Book
exactly.
Co-op on Sundays,
Yeah, people, you have your chance to get out and see them and so forth. And then, of course, there's also shows that take place. And as you mentioned, Aleda, you're starting to produce. What's that like?
Herding cats. Today I was just actually working on a lot of stuff with Hub City Station in Aberdeen and hoping to continue on with them. But it's fun. I feel like I have a good feel for the different comics and who kind of fits well together at this point. So I'm really excited for these future shows I've got coming up there. Skyler will be on one of those. Bunch of local comics getting them out to Aberdeen. So,
Skyler, when you produce a show, do you sit there and go, okay, he's good at opens, don't know if he's ready for a feature, and somebody says it's a feature, you go, don't know if they're ready for a headliner, but is it tough to make a decision as to keep him in that spot, or is there some point where you kind of go, he deserves the shot and needs to be elevated?
Yeah, sometimes that's hard to step out of your own thought process of like, oh, this person's a feature, this person's a host, like you think of, and I don't do as much in town anymore,
right? So
there's a lot of people that I haven't seen, like locals that I haven't seen perform for a while. A lot of times I don't, and I haven't produced a show in or around Sioux Falls for quite a while. I had one out. I've had one in a couple of different states and stuff like that, and so then I'm actually drawing from a completely different pool, and a lot of that is references from people that I trust, and obviously I'll check videos and stuff like that, but and sometimes you actually have to count on the comics to be honest with you, which comics aren't always the best at telling you exactly how much time they can do, but I have had a couple people that I got recommended, oh, this guy would be great to headline that show, and then when I would talk to them, they're like, I can feature, I can do 30 minutes, but I don't have an hour.
Right.
And so sometimes you kind of got to count on those people, but yeah, and that's something, we all feel like once people have their opinion of us, and I've been in this situation as well where I feel like I should, maybe be able to be bumped up or get an opportunity to take the next step with some different people, and I haven't necessarily gotten as many opportunities at that, but really the only thing you can do is remind them that you exist, remind them that you do it, and tell them that you think you're ready for the next step, and hopefully they'll give you that shot eventually.
Yeah, well, I felt honored. I recently was the feature for Zach Dresch in a show that he put on, and I had been a feature for him before, but that was in a show that I produced, so I could put myself as the feature, but I knew I'm not a headliner, and so when he asked me to, it was like, really? So it's like, wow, okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. And it went very well, by the way. Had a great time. But tonight, you could be a winner of a Sioux Falls Stage Award. And, I have it hidden back there. I was going to show you what they look like. But so congratulations, first of all, to being in the spot, because it's hard work that's paid off. And for everybody that's going to be up for one award or another tonight, it's hard work. And people don't always remember that part, especially when it comes to comedy. They think, oh, that person's just funny. And not thinking of the times that you toiled and wrote something down and threw it immediately into the trash can, anything along that line.
Yeah, there's an incredible amount of work in the background that people don't. And just like Aleda's starting to organize shows and stuff like that now, too. And that can take way more time than just writing a set.
Yeah.
And even that can be hard work. And, you got to go sit at these open mics for 2 hours to get your 5 minutes. And, there's a lot more that goes into than just going up on stage and talking into a microphone.
All right. So tonight, awards type thing, and they really try to make it glitzy. I'll have on a black velvet sport coat. Maybe a bow tie. I don't know yet.
So I shouldn't wear cutoffs and flip-flops.
Well, I was just going to ask you, what were you going to show up in?
Cut off and flip-flops, yeah.
It'll work. Somebody's done that before, so. But it'll be a great time regardless. And yes, there is a social hour prior. So I will be quite happy by the time the ceremony actually gets underway. All right. Well, thank you so much, both. Appreciate you spending some time, and more so the time that you put in to your craft as comics. And I wish each of you the best of luck. And any of the 5 that are up for it, whoever gets it, well-deserved regardless.
Absolutely.
All right. So Skyler Bolks and Aleda Windels, thank you so much. I appreciate you being on the Dave Holly Hour.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And we'll be back to wrap up the show in just a moment.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics. Bisques, studio time, or finished custom items are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in Sioux Falls today.
From the Dipsy Doodle Studios at the world headquarters of Big D Entertainment, a 40-square-foot home studio in the middle of America, it's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to our great guests, Abby Kustak and Aleda Windels and Skyler Bolks. Of course, thank you listening, downloading, sharing, following on social media, and the cups of coffee that you can get on the website. If you haven't so far, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, which automatically gets you entered for Pizza with a Podcaster. Now, for all 188 episodes, go online at DaveHollyHour.com. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by TJS Ceramics, Posh Boutique, The Sky in Tea, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to DaveHollyHour.com and look for a coffee cup icon in the lower left. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.